All right, thank you guys. Happy Thursday to you. If you want to save yourself some time, all of today's picks for this video can be located at the end of the video in my quick pick recap. So if you're pressed for time or you just want to know what the pick is right away, you don't want to go through all the, particulars. Just go ahead and fast forward right now. It's cool. No big deal. Just fast forward to the end of the video where my quick pick recap is located. All right, let's go ahead and dive into some free content. We're going to start with the Oklahoma Sooners taking on the TCU Horned Frogs. And that's going to be a 12 p.m. Eastern kickoff at Texas Christian. The Sooners are laying 6.5 on the road. Totals 59 points. We're 4-1 in our last 5 extra daily picks on patreon.com/Brock Page. And access to the extra daily pick costs just $2.99. We're also hitting at 65% in our last 21 crowd pleaser teasers on that site as well. We currently have over 790 members signed up and active on that page. And if you want to join those folks and get in on the action, the link for that site is in the description section below. And once again, that's patreon.com/Brock Page. Now TCU's plus 210 for an outright win on the money line. And if you like them catching the 6.5, they're minus 105 to cover the number. Now TCU's coming fresh off a 21-14 loss to true freshman Will Howard in Kansas State. They also gave up 37 points in their loss to Iowa State in their opener. TCU's 0-2 straight up at home, and they're giving up 27 points a game. Now they're taking on a Sooner team who's coming fresh off an inspired overtime victory over Texas. They racked up 53 total points with the extra frames. Quarterback Spencer Rattler, he's completing 71% of his passes for 297 yards a game and 13 touchdowns. His favorite target's been Austin Stoner, who's caught 17 balls for 230 yards and a touchdown. Stoner is also averaging 14 yards a catch. Wideout Marvin Mims, he also has 15 catches for $196 and 4 touchdowns himself. But it's not just an exclusive aerial attack for the Sooner offense. They can run it too. Running back TJ Pledger, 4.8 yards a carry, scored twice. Meanwhile, the other running back, Seth McGowan, he's gaining 5.3 yards per carry, and he's punched it in the end zone twice himself. The Sooners have 7 total rushing touchdowns on the ground, and they're averaging 144 yards a game on the ground as well. Now, total-wise, when it comes to the number in this one, OU's last 3 straight got over the posted total. Meanwhile, TCU saw 2 out of their last 3 games get over the number themselves. Give me the Sooners minus 6.5 and the over 59 points in that game. Before we go ahead and move on, just want to take another quick timeout and welcome you to the video. Got some lines and personal leans out for the Big 12 college football week 8. But before we dive into some more free content here on YouTube, just got to quickly remind you once again that we are 4-1 in our last 5 extra daily picks on patreon.com/Brock Page. And access to that content costs just $2.99. We're also hitting at 65% our last 21 crowd pleaser teasers on that site as well. We currently have over 790 members signed up and active on that site. And if you want to join them and get in on the action, here's what you can do. Link for that site is in the description section below. And once again, that's patreon.com/Brock Page. And moving on, we're going to take a look at Kansas versus Kansas State. 12 p.m. Eastern start time. The Wildcats of K-State are the 20-point favorite. Totals 48. The Jayhawks are plus 750 for an upset win. But as bad as this Jayhawk team has been, they are coming fresh off a game with West Virginia where they covered a 21.5-point spread. Just barely got the job done, but regardless, a cover's a cover. You get paid for it. The Jayhawks have actually been able to establish some sort of a run game as well, some sort of a respectable, run game. They're averaging nearly 130 yards a game on the ground. Now, Velton Gardner's averaging nearly 5 yards a carry, and he's punched it into the end zone twice. Meanwhile, on the defensive end, Kenny Logan Jr. has 34 tackles and a couple of PBUs, 1 sack, forced fumble. He's all over the place. Now, Kansas is taking on a new look Kansas State team who's going to have to go to work with true freshman Will Howard out of Downingtown, PA through the rest of the season. And as much as I love those Southeastern Pennsylvania prospects, Howard's going to have to be more than just serviceable in this very competitive Big 12. Now, Howard did get the W in his first collegiate start last week. He also got the W the week before that in fill-in duty after Thompson got hurt for the rest of the season. But I'm not so sure that this is a guy that's going to be able to put the team on his back, at least in his true freshman year. He's completing just 50% of his passes through 2 games. He also threw a pick and got sacked a couple of times as well. Gets banged up. That RPO really leaves your quarterback susceptible to hits. And I'm just not sure this K-State running back attack is elusive enough to get the job done. Their second leading rusher is averaging less than 3.2 yards per carry. Now, total-wise, we did see a Kansas State defense hold their opponents to just 17 points per contest in their last couple of games. Meanwhile, the Jayhawks, on the other side of things, they are averaging just 15 points a game themselves. So, despite the fact I think they should be able to cover in this one, I'm not seeing a whole lot of points coming out of either school. So, with all that said and done, I'm going to go ahead and lean toward the underdog, Kansas Jayhawks plus 20. And the under 48 in that contest. All right, moving on, we're going to take a look at Baylor taking on the Texas Longhorns, 3:30 p.m. Eastern start time. The Longhorns are the 9-point favorite at home, total 60 and a hook. Baylor's plus 260 on the money line. Now, the Bears should be very well rested. Only 2 games thus far on the season they played during this very tricky pandemic. Having said that, though, this Baylor defense has gotten to the quarterback 6 times already and forced 4 turnovers. Linebacker Terrell Bernard leads the team in tackles and sacks. He's got 21 tackles through 2 games, along with 2.5 sacks and an interception. Meanwhile, offensively, they've scored 68 points through 2 games as well. They're averaging 115 yards per game on the ground. Now, they are taking on a struggling Texas team who's on a 2-game losing streak. The Longhorns are coming fresh off a tough OT loss to the Sooners in the Red River Shootout, where they gave up 53 total points. They also gave up 33 points in a losing effort to TCU in the week before that. This Longhorn defense has given up 142 points in their last 3 contests, and that's an absurd average of 47 points a game. And if you're into historical trends, the Longhorns have failed to cover in 7 out of their last 10 head-to-head meetings with Baylor. Now, as far as this season goes, the Longhorns have failed to cover the number in their last 3 straight. Now, total-wise, the Longhorns are 2-0 to the over at home, 4-0 to the over for the entire season. Give me the underdog Baylor Bears plus 9 and the over 60.5 in that contest. And with that, we're going to dive into our next and final matchup for the show. West Virginia squaring off against Texas Tech, 5:30 p.m. Eastern start time. The Mountaineers are the 3-point favorite on the road. Total's 53 and a hook. Texas Tech is plus $1.35 to win it. And if you think they'll cover the number, they're plus $1 catching the 3. Now, the Raiders are on a 3-game losing streak. They scored just 7 points through 3 quarters against Iowa State. They lost to the Cyclones by 16 in their most recent contest. This Raider defense has been absolutely putrid. They're giving up 40 points a game for the entire season. They even gave up 33 points to a school called Houston Baptist. I don't know what that is. Texas Tech has failed to cover the point spread in their last 2 straight. They also failed to cover in 3 out of their 4 contests on the season. They are squaring off against a West Virginia program who won their last 2 straight themselves, with their most recent victory coming against Kansas, 38-17. They also beat Baylor by the final of 27-21 the week before that. Mountaineers are 3-1 straight up overall for the season, 3-1 against the spread, depending on where you're shopping at. The Mountaineers are throwing for over 277 yards a game, and they've rushed for 10 touchdowns already. As a matter of fact, this WVU rushing attack is gaining nearly 190 yards a game on the ground. Letty Brown has rushed for 515 yards already with 5 scores. He's averaging 6.4 yards per carry. Sinkfield is averaging 4.9 yards per touch. He's punched it in 3 times himself. Wideout Winston Wright, 19 catches, 234 yards and a score. And total-wise, 2 out of West Virginia's last 3 contests stayed under the posted total. Texas Tech, on the other side, saw their last 2 straight stay under the line themselves. The Raiders are officially 3-1 to the under for the season. And if you're into historical trends, 4 out of these teams' last 6 meetings stayed under the posted total as well. Give me the West Virginia Mountaineers -3 and the under 53.5 in that ball game. And with that, let's go ahead and dive into our quick pick recap. I like Oklahoma -6.5 over 59. Underdog Kansas +20 under 48. Underdog Baylor +9 over 60 and a hook. And last but not least, West Virginia -3 under 53.5. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on Patreon. If you guys decide to get a package here today, just keep in mind we'll bill you the day you sign up and then the first of every month following that. But most importantly, guys, got to thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. Really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. And with that said, happy Thursday to you. Best of luck to you. And I look forward to seeing you later on today on my website at patreon.com/rockpage.